Ain't no Rosa Park happening right now.
Not
nope.
today.
Not today.
All right. I'm Javon.
And I'm Matt.
Welcome to Ministry Misfits podcast. First episode. Support is wild.
Man, what? It was like 100 in the first day likes on Facebook. And then we jumped to 300 within like 48 hours.
Yep.
And then we've like had DMs like out the wazoo and like messages and people like, hey, like, what is this? I'm interested. Or, hey, like, I had one person like, hey, like, what is this page that you're doing? And I was like, well, we're just talking about real life. Two boys that grown up and like doing ministry and just real life. And just real issues that sometimes they're missing in church. And she's like, preach, brother, preach. Like, carry on.
Both hands in there. Let's go.
Like,
we here.
Prayer hands. Let's go. Like,
yeah. And I think what's crazier is that there are a lot of people who are like, I'm ready to jump on board with you guys. And I'm like, you don't know if this is going to be trash. Like, this is going to be the worst thing in the world.
These are two dudes that are trying to figure out ministry, have no clue what's going on. And we just being real. That's it. Like,
right. You're welcome. You're welcome to go. If you want to talk, let's talk. You call us. We'll let you know when we can get you on.
Yeah.
First thing we want to talk about, you know what? It's almost like a fading topic right now, but it's also boosting up a lot. So we have the Lauren Daigle issue.
Ooh,
we have Christians are mad that she's going like secular music. And then you have other people who are saying that she's doing exactly what Christ is telling her. You tell me what you feel about the entire situation.
Yeah, you know, I've had a couple different opinions and maybe just direction and thoughts on like the whole issue, because coming from left field, I get the non-traditional standing of saying, hey, you know, the traditional way girls dress and the way they carry themselves. And, you know, well, in her music video, she was wearing a belly shirt. And I'm like, okay, first off, define me what a belly shirt is. Like, and second off, like, have you seen the music videos that are getting put out there right now? Like, Lauren Daigle, in her song, there's nothing provocative in this song that she's singing. There's nothing provocative in her video that she's doing. And she's singing a song that's glorifying God and using her platform to speak truth and life into young ladies.
Yeah.
And you're focused on the yellow shirt she's wearing. It's like, check your heart. Like, where are you at in the conversation that you're distracted by that? Now to flip on the other side of like, you go to like the music and her singing and like where she's at. And I think like, no matter where you're at, whether you're doing Christian music, whether you're doing pop culture, whether you're doing indie, whatever genre you're in, you have a platform. And if you're using your platform to glorify God, God will honor that. And so, I mean, I haven't heard a single song yet where she's dropping like cuss words and you know, a music video where, you know, you're seeing like people twerk and getting like crazy. I don't. And so it's just like, I struggle with like, why are we lashing out as Christians, and we're called to love people, on this young lady that is living a lifestyle using her platform to glorify God?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, that's where I'm at in it. And that's where I kind of like, I'm struggling with like, hey, why are we coming out and attacking this young lady that is really just trying to use her platform?
Yeah, and I saw this video. It was called Lauren Daigle Exposed.
Oh my God!
And I was like, TMZ. I already knew this was gonna be bad. And I was with them. You know, I was listening. You know, I always give people the benefit of the doubt. And they got to the American Music Awards, and she had this dress on, and there was a slit in front of it, and they were like, "What? When Paul taught in 1 Timothy 9:10?" And I'm like, I get it, but at the same point, when did this grown man get the authority to tell her how to dress? And like, I looked at the way she was dressing, and I was like, when I saw her in the dress, I didn't think anything of it.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And you're a married man too. And I'm single. Like, so even more so, I should be like getting feelings and flutters and things like that. And I'm not. Like, that's not where my heart's at. And I know where the value in how my parents raised me to look at women, young women, no matter the age, look at women with respect and dignity and who God created them to be. Yeah,
and I think that I think people are just using the whole stumbling block just to make a point. At the end of the day, I think that they're just criticizing her to do it.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's trying to edify like out of it.
Well, and it's like that, you know, when you're like in the background and you're seeing like a fight break out in the schoolyard and you're like, oh, go. But you ain't going to jump in there and back your boy up. Like, I get messed up in my face. Like, I'm the basketball star. I ain't getting jumped in there and getting jumped in this mess. Like, I don't get attention. And so, but you're going to egg it on. Like, and so it's just like one person starts something, another person starts something. And it's just like, it's what we put our focus and energy into. When it's like, what else we be doing with our time? What else could we be doing to maybe grow in our own personal journey or our own personal walk? And and the conflicts that we may have in our own life that are causing us to focus on issues in other people.
Yeah, and I think what's killing me like the absolute most is that it started with the outfit, and then it's she's on Ellen's show, and then it's she's on Jimmy Fallon, and I'm like, are you just mad that you don't have the platform to do that, or like
one of your goals and you're not doing anything to achieve that, or what? Like,
and dude tried to put her on the spot. Yeah. When she went on iHeartRadio, the guy was like, do you think homosexuality is a sin? Put her straight on the spot. She said, I don't know. Read your Bible. You figure out the answer. And like, as a Christian, you're supposed to get outroared about that answer, I guess. But I don't, for some reason, it didn't hit me like that, because I'm thinking you put her on the spot with a really controversial issue just for the sake of being controversial.
Being controversial. Yeah. I mean, straight up, the idea that you're going to like focus on that individual piece and like take that whole controversial topic out as a whole, and that can be its own episode. But if you look at the idea of putting her on the spot in that moment, knowing that like, hey, she has a platform she's using and she's doing certain things, and she probably has certain contracts of things that she can say and can't say, that you're going to put her in that realm to like gridlock her to get her in a spot of, oh, well, are you really a Christian then? Are you really, what do you really believe? And, you know, and then you have at churches outroaring and, oh, well, this is that, blah, blah. It's like, she's using her platform for what God created it to be.
Yeah.
And ridiculous. That's that. That's point and simple.
That's the judgmental church, which is another thing we want to talk about.
A whole other episode in itself. But it's like, you have to look at it from, you know, I don't want to say facts, because I think that's like, just like, you get in that like edgy of like, well, where are the facts? Where are they line in? Where's the data? But if you look at the idea of the aspects of what is the heart issue behind people outroaring in that? What is your struggle? What is your, you know, this idea of ministry misfits? What is that misfit that you fit into, or maybe the category that you're wrestling in, that is causing you not to support, but more hate, or have to like go after somebody like that? Yeah. You know?
And the thing, it's crazy that like, she's still teaching the Christian message and people are combating her. And the people that are combating her are the people that are supposed to be supporting her throughout the entire process. Yeah. And what makes me sick is that the dude was like, Lauren Daigle doesn't have any mention of Christ on her website. So I went to fact check it. He was right. But it also says who she signed with, which is Centricity, which everybody knows is a faith-based label. And then you see her profile on there and it's got all of her background stuff. It's like, everybody knows that she came up through Christian music. Everybody knows that she's a Christian. When Ellen brought her on the show, she knew that she was a Christian. Like, to have to go on and say it is just, I don't get the point.
Well, and then when did, you know, it's the idea of like dying to your faith per se, you know, if you want to get like biblical with it, and that's not where we're going, because that's not what this is about. But the idea of saying that like, you know, why is she having to defend so hard that like, this is what she believes and this is where she's at? Like, you know, you don't see, you know, me coming up to like, you know, these big mainstream pastors and like some of the stuff they're doing going, well, are you a Christian? Like, you're leading this big church, but are you a Christian? Like, no, you don't see that. You don't see that big giant controversy. You don't see me walking up to people and challenging people, or, you know, other people as well doing that. Well, why? Because they have a platform and they're using that platform. The same thing she's doing. It may be different than the way you would do it, different than the way, you know, your generation's done it, but doesn't mean that it's any different or any wrong in any which way to possible, you know, to use that as a platform.
Yeah, and I think the thing that drives me crazy is that all these pastors are like, Lauren Daigle should be telling people that she's a Christian, blah, 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 blah. But I've talked to a lot of pastors who have told me their strategy on how to get into schools. And they say that they usually don't tell them that they're a pastor at first.
Yep.
And I'm like, so this is the exact same thing on a different platform, and all of a sudden you don't like it anymore.
Well, and now you don't even have like Christian clubs on campuses. And so you're having to come in and just bring, you know, 50 Little Caesars pizza, hand out pizza. So you're the pizza boy now coming on campuses. Or you're doing like crazy lunchtime gym games and, you know, or, you know, even if you do get in like an FCA or, you know, some of these other programs that they have out there, you know, you're still limited to what you can do. And most of the time it's like, you're not really speaking, like, you're just speaking truth. You're just speaking, you know, the good word and a message of an idea of like, hey, values core. But the second you start going down the belief route, that's where you're going to get a red flag or somebody to defend somebody, game over. Like, and so people aren't doing that. And so it's like, how's that any different than?
It's not. It's not. Just the judgmental church right back at it. That's wild. All right, man. I want to know, give me one of your experiences where you've gone into a church and felt judged by that church, even as somebody who works in the church.
Ooh, okay. Ooh, that's good. Okay. Well, I'm trying to think. I don't know if I want to go back all the way to high school. I want to do something more like recent, because like surprisingly, like there has still been recent things that have happened.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'll just go recent. I'm not going to name any churches, not throwing anyone under the bus, not doing, being respectful and caring how I carry myself. But I had visited a church and standing, just conversation and stuff like that. And I like to network. I'm a big networker. That's how we've connected. You kind of stepped in my old role, and then we just hit up and like, hey. And so went through the whole service, sat down, got to meet some of the lead team, and got taken backstage to see the worship team and just introduce myself. Like, didn't really say who I am, what I do, what position I am. And this was the current position that I am now. But afterwards I go, hey, I want to find the student guy. Like, I haven't met the student guy yet. And like, I'm big about that. I want to connect to the different student guys and connect and have conversations to see, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, what are the things that you guys are trying to achieve? What are the values? What are the struggles you deal with? And just real conversation. Yeah. And in that, I go find the student guy. And at first I was like, approached, like, oh, are you a high school student? Oh, I was like, I don't look like a high school student. Come on, let's be real. High school students got this full of a beard. Like, let's be real. That's not going to happen. And he's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, no, I actually work at this church and I do this. And I saw your winter camp flyer in the bulletin. I was just wondering like what you guys do. And like, I see that you guys meet on like Sunday nights. And so like, maybe I can try to come back and check that out if I have time. And he's like, yeah. And it was just like surface level conversation. Yeah. It was like, yeah, I mean, this is what we do. And like, here's some of our leaders and like, here's some of our flyers. But then I was like, also what was kind of funny too, is that I knew the old young adults guy who's out here now doing ministry out in the valley. And so I was like, hey, and I also know like, is it one of your young adults guy here now in Arizona? And he's like, oh yeah, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. And then like the conversation ended. And I'm like, okay, like didn't really talk anything. Like I didn't like, I'm not trying to like brag on like, oh, my church, your church. Like, I don't care about numbers. I don't care what you're reaching. I care what you're doing. Like, how are you reaching? Like, if there's something that you're doing that I can like cultivate in our church, like let's do it. Steal. Borrow, how you want to say it. And so just to like judgment of like, oh, you're like the director and you're doing this and and like the not vulnerability to be real and be like, yeah, we're wrestling with this and blah, blah. And like, I get it. You don't know me. I don't know you, but we're doing ministry together. Yeah. And so like feeling this like almost like judgment of like, oh, well, you're a director. Like you're, like kind of like, oh, not what I expected. Like, no, I'm not the cookie cutter, like youth pastor. I'm not like the clean cut. I'm rough around the edges. Yeah. I'm still going to school. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. Yep. And so to feel almost like judged in that moment and then almost just cut off, like where it's just like, oh yeah, like, sure. Like, it was almost like I was like having to beg to come check out his youth group. And I was just like, hey, like, I just want to see what y'all doing. Like, it was like, oh, well, yeah, I guess it's like, we have our service. Like, and it wasn't like, I'm not trying to invite myself to a party. Like, I ain't trying to invite myself to your youth group. Like, only if you feel comfortable with me being there, then I'll be there. But I don't want to force myself in. And so, but yeah, and that was like, that's like the top tier, like ministry level. That's not even talking about like people. Yeah. Because like the looks I get, the looks I get walking into churches with this hair, I'll tell you right now in itself. Like I've had people come up and tell me like, hey, like I love the hair, like I love the style, I love the vibe, but like blah, 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 like you're a great personality and you can see God working in you. And I've had people tell me like, oh, why are you trying to be like Colin Kaepernick? Why are you trying to represent this? Why are you trying to, and like, I won't get deep into like the names and the things I've been called and like the old men that have come out to me like, you need to cut your hair and blah, blah, if you're going to be in a respectful position. And it's like, how does my hair define me? Right. It doesn't. My God does. Yeah. So like, that's a whole other conversation in itself. No. But, yeah, like to be judged from other leaders that are doing the same thing I'm doing, like that's rough. That's a struggle. What about you, Javon?
Oh, man. Again, we're not going to say the names of these places. I got contracted to speak at a church. This was 7 months ago. It's older now. It's like a year ago now. Jeez. Man, time's flying. But I got contracted to go to this church and to speak there. Their pastor was out of town or something, and a mutual friend was like, "Hey man, can you come speak for this person's youth group?" And I was like, "Bet, you know me. I like this. I like to talk." So I went down there and I was lost. I'm not even gonna lie, man. This church is big. I was like, I don't know where I'm going. They got a parking lot here, and here, and the pool. I don't know what's going on. They got a pool. They do laps. So I pull up to church. I finally get in. I get to the office. Somehow I end up at the student building. I know I'm at the student building. You know
just
why?
Know when you walk in.
Yeah, you know a student building when you walk in a student building. And it said student building. So, so I go in and I get to the receptionist and she's like, hey. And I'm like, hi. She's like, can I help you?
Ooh.
And looks visually uncomfortable. Like visibly uncomfortable. You can tell she's uncomfortable. I'm like, no, I'm good. And she's like, why are you here?
Oh.
And I was like, I'm looking for the student room. And she's like, why? At this point, I'm ready to just go. Like, I'm like, I had a fire message for y'all, but it's fine. I'm gone. And she's like, why are you here? I was like, well, Pastor Blank has me filling in for him today. I'm teaching. I'm a pastor up in Phoenix. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I just didn't know why. You know, she ain't got words. She's just like backpedaling. She's like, way back to the beginning. I was like, no, we are too deep now. We are way too deep now. Oh. And it was just so uncomfortable because I'm like, if I feel that way, and I know I'm going to brush it off because I get over things pretty fast.
What's a different student that looks, maybe even, not as nicely. You dress nice, Javon.
I try to. Like, I really do try to.
Nicely dressed and neat as you present yourself walking in that room, Phil.
I'm like, I can only imagine kid from the hood walk in there.
And just go, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, how has that become the church? Like, how can you walk in and be like, hey, what do you, like, you don't belong? Or like, you're like, hey, like, this idea of like, hey, you may not fit in.
Mm-hmm. It's like we preach belongness. You belong, you belong, you belong,
Everyone,
you belong.
We're all the church. We're all this community. We're all this focus. But do we live it out? Do we actually do it?
No, dude. We're in the age of the church bubble. It's like if you're not inside this bubble already and you look like you're on the outside of it, I'm not letting you in until I get some type of proof that you're like us.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't get how we can say how many new people have come to the church and how many new people walk through the doors and our attendance is rising and all that. But my real question is how many lives were actually changed after they walked through those doors? Because even my students, I caught them yesterday. We had was yesterday Sunday? Today's Monday? Yeah. So I caught them yesterday. This new kid's walking up, right? This car pulls up. Don't know of us. Then we go to a small church. So you know every car.
When a car pulls up, you're like, hey, I don't know that car. Hold on, time out.
Every car. So this car pulls up and everybody's like,
nah, they just do the stare.
And like, it wasn't like the judge stare, but it was like this is different. And I'm like, I turned around, I looked at them, I said, y'all trying to stare a hole through that boy?
Like, good night. Like,
I'm like,
can you even open the door? Like, you turn right back around and go right back to his car.
Our church is all glass. So like, this boy's walking up like, everybody's staring at me.
It's like the fish in the fish tank. Like, little kids just like, what? Like, what you staring at? Like,
and I'm like, I understand that like you guys don't mean what you look like right now because y'all look crazy and y'all making us look crazy. But I feel like I wonder, are we afraid of people that look different than us in the church?
And we say that we're like, as a church, and most churches would agree on this. I'm not speaking on behalf of any church by any means, but that we say that we're welcoming and we're inviting and that we want, people to feel, come as you are, be as you are, like come in and, however means, whatever way. But are we really providing the passage and the way and the means and teaching our congregation that value and that belief as well too? Yeah. Which I would love to say that we are. And like, I even know like doing a back poll on like, we do thank you cards or like, group first time cards. When you arrive up, you fill out a card and, we write a card to you and we send it out that Monday. And we had 300 of these cards. Within a year, we had 300 cards gone. We don't even got 300 students in our ministry. And it's like, are we doing a good job? Like, cool, we followed up with a card and that's great. Yeah. And like a leader made a personal connection. But what maybe did we not do or what maybe did we miss in making that student feel like connected and involved and a part of something when they walked in or maybe when they walked out or maybe we just even noticed them.
Yeah, that's true, man. So, I've worked at churches where somebody would be like, I've been going here for months. And I thought they were brand new.
You thought they were brand new. Like, I've been here since I was in diapers. And you're like, wait, what? Like, oh, I just never knew. And and it was like, so like I imagine like that. You're like, what do you mean? Like, you mean you tell me like, I haven't been noticed? Like, I haven't been like valued. I haven't been prayed for. Like, I haven't like, and you can go down the list of things, you're like, the insecurities and the faults and the things that Satan's going to immediately be like, boom, ba 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 ba. But
that junk is wild.
Oof. Yeah,
because you got to think about like if you were in that seat, like if you were going to a church for that long and then somebody was like, "Oh, are you new?" and then you're like, "No, I've been here."
Yeah,
I can only imagine how many kids go through churches without getting noticed, especially the bigger you are. Like big churches can do their absolute best to have enough people, but like at the end of the day, every once in a while, somebody's gonna slip through the cracks, and it's like, how does that kid feel?
Yeah, and we're just talking kids and students. We're not even talking about the adults, like the single adults, like the women's, like the men's. Like we're not even talking about the adults that are getting missed or that are showing up and then are just dissipating. You know, and obviously, like in the realms that we work in more student ministry, so we get to deal kind of in the nitty gritty of students developing and all that jazz. But it's nuts.
Well, adults have to be getting missed.
Hands down.
I'm sorry, man. There aren't enough communication cards in the world.
And enough communication cards and enough life groups. I mean, I was telling my life group leaders, I was like, even when you think we have enough leaders, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't. Like, to be real, if we were wanting to do intentional groups and intentional development and pour in, we don't have enough leaders.
Yeah.
Like, and even if like we get to the point where we think we have enough leaders, we don't. Like, we need to keep going, because guess what? God's going to continue to bring people in, and if we don't have leaders prepared to minister those and disciple them, then they're going to fall out. They're going to get missed and fall off and go somewhere else.
What I wonder is how many people are immediately turned off by the church once they get in there. Because for some reason, I have a hard time believing that non-Christians just don't want to go to church. Like I have a hard time believing that the thought of God is so repulsive to them. I think that everybody has this inherent feeling where they want to know where they came from. They want to know why they exist. And I think that I don't think that the thought of God is repulsive to them, but the thought of church is. Why do you think that is?
I think we've allowed a stigma to arise to what churches are. And, you know, and we say that we're a judgment-free zone and come as you are, but we're not. Like, we let that stuff happen. And like you're saying, like, you know, with your students, like you saw them, you know, maybe not the judgy face, but, you know, they're definitely staring the kid down. And it's like, we have that stigma. We have the cliques inside of our ministries and leader teams and, you know, people that have been at the church. Like my worst ever felt conversation that's happened to me and so many other people is, "Oh, you don't know so-and-so? Oh, yeah. Oh, well, we've just, you know, we've been here for a long time and we've always done this together." Okay, cool. Well, what you just said is like, we always do this. We've always been together. And so you're the new person and like, you don't really fit. That's what you just said in that. Whether you believe it or not, that's what you just said. And so now you're sitting there and you have someone that's feeling like they're an outcast and they don't belong because, oh, well, they've always had this. And this is, so I'm messing up the flow. I'm messing up the vibe. I'm messing up the difference. And you're like, that's not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, and when students walk into my Sunday morning, I'm not going to treat one student that's been there from, you know, since the beginning, you know, or since the first time I met them to a new student that walks in any different. They are both getting treated the same way. Why? Because they're all God's children and I love them all the same. Yeah. So, I mean, but I think it's just, we get caught up in that stigma and we let it define who we are. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how we even stop the judgment. Like I don't anymore.
Like, you don't post signs. Like signs don't do any justice. It just makes more.
You know, signs don't work. Have you been to Planet Fitness? No judgment zone.
No judgment zone. Planet Fitness. Yeah. I see guys all the time posting their videos like me and Planet Fitness. You know, benching 15 pounds, and there's like a professional body lifter. I'm like, dude, like you're just ruining the stigma for anyone that's like, hey, like I would go work out there. I'm never gonna go work out there. Like,
by the way, Planet Fitness, if y'all want to sponsor us, we love y'all.
We love you. We ain't hating on Planet Fitness. Like, come on, no judgment. No, absolutely not. You know, I'm open to any open memberships. You know, all right?
You know what I'm saying? You can cancel free anytime. No, man, but judgment in the church is like ridiculous. I feel like. Okay, so I'm gonna tell a quick story, just real quick. Yeah. I went to an Irish pub in Michigan. This was.
Wait, hold on, you went to a pub? Are you allowed to? I'm just kidding. Oh, all right, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Keep going.
If somebody has an issue with alcohol, that's a whole different conversation.
Please email us, and we would love to bring you on the show and have a conversation
and a beer. I'm against alcoholism, but not against alcohol. Just so y'all. Anyways, this is not about my opinion. Anyways. So I went to an Irish pub. It was me, my soon-to-be wife, and my sister, my older sister. We went there. And this guy, he was just staring at me from across the pub. just staring hard, like rock bottom hard. And I got irritated, but I didn't say anything. I just kept sitting there, and then he tapped me on my shoulder. And I was like, oh, Lord, here we go. I look at him, I was like, what's up? He's like, you know, this guy's drunk. So he's like, you know, I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't see many of your kind around these parts. And I'm fascinated. I said, what? What do you... I just don't see many black people. And I'm just fascinated. And I was like, okay. And that was the end of the conversation. But the reason why I say that is because I wonder if it's like that in church. Like churches get so used to being around other Christian people that when somebody different comes in, they're just like, I don't even know what to do.
I don't see many of you around here.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna stare. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I can't really invite you into my bubble because then I'm gonna be uncomfortable. And I feel like there's nothing that we have in common because I'm holy and you're not.
Yeah, whole nother topic.
Holier than thou art, you know? But I just wonder if that's what church culture is becoming. It's becoming, I grew up in church culture. So if you didn't, I don't know what to do. And I don't know if that's an evangelism problem or if that's a social media problem or just a communication problem. But I think that this feeling that people are getting when they go into churches, whether it's because they're Mexican or because they're Muslim or because they have tattoos or they have crazy hair, it's like, I feel like that feeling's not going to go away for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
And I'm very optimistic, and I'm like, you know, the church is going to get better. The church is going to get better because I've been to churches that do it good, like good. But I've also gone to churches that do it bad. So it's kind of like, it's like my only hope could be that a non-Christian just wanders into one of those good churches and doesn't get stuck inside one of these
bad churches and then turns back and goes, why would you ever invite me to church? I never want to go.
I don't want to do it again.
Be a part of that.
Never. I think everybody will try it once.
Yep.
At least once. Last thing, really. So we talked about the weird faces, the mean looking faces. But have you ever been to a church that has on all good faces, but you can tell it's surface level?
Oh, so you talk about the Sunday morning church face. You know, the Sunday morning, like, hey, God is good all the time and all the time. God is good. Like, hey, like, I mean, I think there's so many ways that you can navigate this conversation, but being real as it we're talking real and we're having real conversations is I wrestle with the fake face. And my students know that I don't have a fake face. Sunday I preached and I had a migraine. I woke up and I was like, Lord, not today. Like, I was like, who's my standing? Who's in my feeling? Like, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
And literally when I was reading scripture, my migraine was so bad that like my dyslexia kicked in. I'm just like reading words that aren't even there and jumping all over the page. Kids are snickering and laughing in the background. I'm like, guys, you got to like help walk with me in this. And I ended up spark noting and get through like where I was at. But my students know that I don't fake. I don't front. If I'm going to be real, if I'm asking you to be real with me, I'm going to be real with you.
Yeah. 1 second. Let me grab a charge.
Oh.
I'm keeping this on.
Oh, yeah. We ain't going to go ahead and lose that. We don't want to lose the charge. Yeah, nope. First podcast, charge gone.
Computer dies mid. Computer dies mid.
That'd be
podcast.
terrible. We're going to have to lose front light or something.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, no.
That's fine.
All right.
We'll lose something.
We'll lose something.
We'll lose one of these. Can I lose my backlight? Is that fine?
Yeah, you can lose your backlight. That's fine. It'll be for just for one podcast.
Mine's getting cut off.
Oh. All right. You got to unplug mine anyways. Watch. I'm just kidding. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. I don't need any light anyways. Okay. It's okay. It's behind me. You can't even see it.
I'm keeping my light.
You get the good mic and the good light. All right. No. So, where were we? We were talking about, that's what happened.
Your kids, you don't have a fake face.
Gotcha. Yeah. So they know that I will never bring a fake face. You know, and obviously it's, you know, to a stipulation. Like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, my world's falling apart. And like, I'm not married, but like, I'm going to go through a divorce. I've lost my pet. Like, I'm not going to like to their healthy, appropriate level, you know, with the bounds of being their leader and their pastor and that shepherd and that realm, you know, I got to like keep it to a certain level, but I'm never going to be fake.
Yeah.
You know, they ask me how I'm doing. I'm like, it's been a rough week. You know, I'm tired. I've, you know, like I struggled with this and struggled with that, you know, in respect bounds, obviously. But I struggle with the idea that you have that Sunday morning, like everything's good all the time, smile. Yeah. And usually on Sundays, I'm smiling. Why? Because it's my favorite day. Yeah. Because I know that like, hey, I'm going to see students that like I haven't seen that only come on Sundays. I'm going to see people that I haven't seen that like are in the church and part of the body. You know, sometimes I get to do an announcement. And so it's like, people are like, hey, it's a fresh vibe. Like, let's go. We know it's going to be popping. Like, I'm going to say something like, that worship was lit. And everyone's like, yeah. And I'm like, woo, it's a party. And I really feel that. Yeah. And so it's never fake. But there are Sundays that like, I'm not feeling good. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm feeling down. And people see that. And it's like, it's on my face. I don't sit there and go, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. God's good. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're wrestling? Oh, it's all right. God's got you. God will take you. No. Because how does that set an example for them? Right. When they're wrestling that, oh, well, let me just... My Instagram feed like, oh, everything's good, but my house is a wreck, and my parents are arguing, and my parents are getting divorced, and me and my brother and sister are fighting, and this boyfriend just cheated on me, or this girlfriend just did this, and blah, 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 with my best friend. Yeah. But I'm good, and look at my Instagram, and everything's great, because that's what the world says. For sure, yeah. But that's not what God says. God says we're supposed to walk in that realm and walk in that perspective of where we're at, you know, and that like, it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. Yeah. You know? And so like that we can journey through that knowing that it's going to be a struggle and it's going to be, you know, not comfortable and easy. But nah, the fake Sunday smile, the fake, you know, I'm doing good smile. Like I cut through it. Like my students know that like I can read through it in them. I look at them and I go, all right, you're telling me you're okay, but I don't believe it. So just know that I care about you. I'm here for you. If you want to talk, open door policy. It's always here.
Man, I had a volunteer that I had who was always so smiley, right? And we were sitting down, we had a meeting. It was me, her, and another one of my students, and another one of my volunteers. I mean, it was my student too. Either way, you get the point. Yep. She was smiling. I was like, how's life? And she burst out into tears. And it just reminded me of like how many times we have on this fake smile. We're just like, yeah, but like we can't do that. And I'm not the one to fake smile. I always try to, if I feel like crap, you're probably going to see it on my face. There are so many times I go to our pre-rehearsal or whatever we do right before service, our run through. And I'm like, hey guys, just so you know, I'm not feeling it right now. Maybe halfway through this worship set, I might be back, but I'm telling you right now, I do not feel good. You can see it on my face. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And if it's something that I can tell them, then I'll tell them. If it's something I can, I'll just be like, just pray for me. Let's just keep things moving. But I think that you go into a lot of churches and everybody's smiling, everybody's having a good time. And it makes you think like, Part of me says it's really good that everybody in this church is smiling because it means that there's something good happening there. And I'm pretty sure that that's what the lead pastors want. They want their volunteers smiling. They want everybody smiling because it says something good is here. There's good news. But I think that the Bible can stand on its own. The service should stand on its own and make you smile. But I don't think we should put on these fake smiles because it leads us to the question of, is it worth putting on these fake smiles and making it seem like a positive environment, or does that just contribute to the facade that a lot of people think church already is?
Yeah, I would say hands down, I think it contributes to the facade because it's like you're telling me to be real. You're telling me to come as I am and come with my mess and come with my baggage and come with my struggles and my sin and whatever else or wherever I'm at in life. Just come as me. Yeah. But then you're sitting there with a front of like everything's good. Like where you know, that doesn't make sense. Like you don't have to believe in anything to know that doesn't make sense. Yeah. And so this idea that, you know, that come as you are, be where you are, and that we're not willing to be where we are, you know, obviously, again, appropriate rebounds and, you know, in leadership, like, you know, you can't sit there, you know, in front of your church and be like, I'm struggling with this and like I'm wrestling with like, you know, because you're going to cause people to someone will be like, well, the lead pastor doing this. And now, obviously, that's a healthy church conversation. That's a whole other. We're not going there. We're not naming any churches. But it's this idea that, you know, if a volunteer's not feeling good or someone else, and I think it would go deeper. It's this idea of we've gotten rooted in this idea that, you know, we just ask people, hey, how you doing? And it gives them that cop out like, oh, I'm doing good. I'm good. Okay. Yeah, and then this is where we stop as, you know, the church. And we're like, oh, you're doing good. Awesome. Perfect. So glad you're here this morning. Like, come worship with us. Yep. But we don't realize that good was masking, you know, the pain and the hurt that they went through that week. The pain and the hurt that they were wrestling with. And And real life scenario, just coming back from up north recently, a good friend of mine, we had a conversation and I had asked, hey, how are you doing? And we left that conversation really abruptly, and we're still we're still friends and we're still connected. But I asked her, hey, how you doing? And she said, good. Mm-hmm. And I get a text later saying, you don't know my week. You don't know where I've been at. You don't know where I'm struggling, blah, blah. And it was a mask. And I wasn't listening. I wasn't paying attention to where no, she's not doing good.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want me to see where she's at and where she's hurting and where she's struggling and where she's wrestling, because I'm not creating a safe, comfortable space for her to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, I'm a fixer, and I don't want to put that on a guy. That's not a guy stigma. That's me. Who God designed me to build me. He built my hands. He said, hey, work and fix it. Like, if you can fix it, you fix it. You know, if you can do this, and hey, you're not going to help me? Get out my way. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. God's created me to fix things and do things and move, and I'm a mover. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And so that's me being vulnerable, saying I missed a moment just to listen and realize, oh, she's not doing good. That, the things that are wrestling in her life and what's going on, those are real world struggles. Yeah. And so we need to get rid of that cop out. Like, hey, how are you doing? Like, hey, like, how was your week? Or even be more intentional. You saw them last week and, they were wrestling and you were praying for, we're praying for as a church, your struggle or whatever, that we would go a little bit deeper and say, hey, I remember we were talking about this last week. How's that situation? Or how's that going better?
Yeah.
Taking that next step. Taking that next, more than just a person, more than just a number, more than just, a somebody, that, hey, like, we value you and we're really praying for you and we're really journeying with you in this.
Yeah. I think it makes me think that things can really go one of two ways. So if you put on a fake smile, either somebody's going to feel really good in that moment and like that smile is going to be contagious. But later on, they're going to wonder, I've been going to this church for a long time and I don't feel that happy all the time. Why doesn't God bless me the way that he blesses them all the time? Why do they always have a good life and I have to go through all this stuff? Or they're going to catch on to the facade and they're going to smile all the time. And we're never going to know when something bad's going on until it's built up beyond something that we can take care of. So at the end of the day, no fake smiles over here.
No, you get the real cut and dry. You get the as I am, as God made me, a misfit fit of where I'm at, God placed me here. All right, God, use me.
Yeah. All right. One last thing just to lighten the mood. Two last things to lighten the mood. Number one, sloppy wet kiss or unforeseen kiss. This is for all my Christian people out there.
That's good. Oh. I don't like the concept of an unforeseen kiss. So I'm more of a sloppy wet kiss. Like, Aunt Jemima over here coming up going, hey, here's that sloppy wet kiss. Come here, man. Come here. I'll give me a sloppy wet kiss.
I'm with you though. I'm not even going to I'd have heard unforeseen. I was like, huh?
Unforeseen? Like, I don't want someone coming back, kiss my leg. Like what? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Don't surprise me like that. Like.
And then last question. Is Chick-Fil-A real Christian?
Oh,
wait. Let me finish.
Go for it.
Is Chick-fil-A, would they be more of a service to Christians if they were open on Sunday?
Oh, yeah. They say... they pray for your food. I don't know if you've seen that video. It's like he's like it's like a rap. He made a rap. He's like, I pray for you. Don't worry about if you do a Bible study with all that stuff. I'm like, it's like, are they really praying for my food? Like, are they praying for that chicken before it comes outside? Come on. No. But
maybe.
I feel like the only time that I'm really craving Chick-fil-A is Sunday. Yep. Like, you don't hear me on a Monday. You don't hear me on a Tuesday. You don't hear me on a Wednesday going, you know what I would go for right now? Chick-fil-A. Because Wednesday I'm usually with students. So I'm just like, Lord, just bring me Little Caesar. I know it's going to happen. Like, just whatever. Like, I got to make it through these next 5 hours. And I love it. It's great. But 5 hours is going to be a long time. And I haven't had dinner yet. And so Little Caesar pizza, that works. Whatever. But I think if they were open on Sundays, I think mountains would be moving.
I think a hot take, maybe they should only be open on Sundays.
The Bible studies happening up in Chick-fil-A on Sundays. Life group signups would be increased in every church. Every Chick-fil-A would have life groups breakouts in every little pocket. Like,
you only need
you on the slide and the card in the playground. You have kids, spreading the gospel, flannel graphs going up. Jesus walked on water. Like, I can't.
We got to end this podcast.
Shut this down.
All right. If you made it this far, you're either really bored or you found something really intriguing. Either way, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Misfit. Dang it, we did it.
You were closing it. No, you know what? I'm going to close it. He was supposed to close it, and he's already messing up. Thank you for listening to Ministry Misfits.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching and listening.
Wait, is this going to be on... It's going to be on Spotify,
Have we even talked about what we posted it on yet? Like, we just over here.
We should tell them. We're about to close out.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell them what we're doing, what we're on.
So we're going to be on Spotify. I think we're going to be on a couple other platforms as well for our podcast version. And then we're also going to launch a video version on YouTube. So that way you can just kind of watch. You know, I think it's...
Not YouTube, Facebook.
Sorry, I lied. Not YouTube, Facebook. It's going to be on Facebook on our page so you can watch the video because I think seeing like a face and seeing like the animation and the like laughter and the reactions of us can... You know, some people like that. Some people like the more visual side than just like the audible. So, but we know the audible is like the way it is right now, and that's what it is. And you can listen to it in your car. You can listen to it wherever you're at. So be sure to go like Ministry Misfits on Facebook. Do we have an Instagram yet?
No, we don't.
Be looking for our Instagram. We're going to get an Instagram set up, you know, add it to all the other pages that we have.
Yeah.
And so look for Ministry Misfits on Facebook, on Instagram, and then on Spotify as well, and the other platforms that you can get a podcast for.
Yeah. Also comment below and tell us what you want to talk about.
I'm going to do a bar again because last time we put a bar right here. So let's put the bar right here that you can comment on. But yeah, comment us and let us know, like, hey, was there something that we missed? Was there something in the conversation that maybe you think that we didn't represent well? And that's this, is we're not coming in here, you know, we're sharing, you know, kind of where we feel like we stand and where we believe and whatever. But it's an unbiased, like we want to hear from you guys. We want to journey with you guys and just have real conversations that we don't think are necessarily happening, you know? And so just providing that platform. So if you're like, hey, like I disagree with that and I'd love to speak on it, email us, reach out to us, comment, DM, like let's set up a time and let's connect. And maybe you could join us on one of the episodes and we can clarify some things and have some conversations of just like, hey, where you're at and where's the real world that, you know, the real world that you're dealing with and what you're talking about and where you're at in life per se.
My thing is, if you hate something, I would love for you to come on and talk about it and why you hate it and what bothered you, because that's exactly what this is about.
Yep. If you hate something, even the more reason to come connect with us. Hopefully not to beat us up, but just to have real conversation.
Ain't nobody beating me up on my own podcast.
About to be real.
I'm fast. I'm a fast runner. Geez. What do you mean? There's a door right there. I'm gone. I'm
out. All right.
All right.
We got to shut this down.
All right. We'll catch y'all later.
Ministry Misfits.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're awesome. I love you.
For more episodes.
Shout out to my mama.
Shout out to my mama. She's the one that brought me into this world. She can take me right back out.
And we don't hate Planet Fitness.
We do not hate Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness, please reach out to us. We'd love for you to be a sponsor.
And BlackRock.
And BlackRock. Oh, my guys at BlackRock. You know we good. No
churches, please. Church's Chicken.
Church's Chicken.
Give us a call.
Oh, for real. For real, we would literally have your cup or your KFC bucket, or that's KFC, but Church's bucket.
Church's KFC bucket. I'm sick. We're out of here.
We'll
catch y'all later.
Thanks so much.